What's up, YouTube, tube? Welcome to another Pepsi-Talk or Pepsi Time. I don't remember what I called it. I just realized that my microphone was all the way down here, so you probably didn't even hear that, and I'm not saying it again. Anyway, on this episode, we are talking about animals that I have had. So this list is really long. I've always grown up with animals, and I'm also going to say honorable mentions because these were like animals that like shaped my childhood. So first of all, one of the honorable mentions was Balls. My aunt's wombat, we found him on the side of the road and she raised him. The cats, Molly and Maisie. These were like my childhood cats. These were like the sort of cats that like you don't remember, but they were like there at one point. Maisie did have kittens though, and Maisie gave me a grey kitten I called Grey Grey. I had Grey Grey for an hour, and then my mum gave him away because she wanted the money. So, Maisie also like ran away and she was like, I don't want to be here. She like just left, and then we found her and my mum was like, honestly, just let the bitch stay there. So Maisie didn't come home. Then Daisy, I got Daisy in like 2011 maybe, and Daisy was my first animal. Like she was mine, and something happened to her. She got like sick or something and she died, and I was the one who answered the phone call. And the good dude could tell that he was talking to a little kid, and he's like, oh, where are all your cats? And I was like, they're all here. Oh, except for my cat, I don't know where my cat's gone. Yeah, she was dead. And then my next one was Sammy, and I actually have a very vivid memory of getting Sammy because I had been begging for a dog. All I wanted was a dog, and my parents didn't want me getting a dog, and so they were like, you can get a cat. And so what happened was we were looking at fences because we were building a fence at the time, and so they're like, oh, let's go look at fences so we can find out what fence we really like. And they were like driving on the main road for half of the fucking trip, and so I was like, bitch, I already know. I knew the whole time. And then Chanel, she was there actually like for my whole childhood, but I don't remember her because she was always outside. She was like one of those cats, like she was sort of an outdoor cat, but she's still alive. I think she lives with my mom. And then Jinxie was my pride and joy. He wasn't my cat, but he was like, I was his favorite. And well, you know what? No, I wasn't. He just tolerated me, but I loved Jinxie. He was like, that was like my first ever impression of a cat. Like that was like my life. He lives with my brother, I'm pretty sure. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure. Sky, that's my cat over there who just jumped. Sky was really, she has been like, she's the one. She's the queen. We call her lady friend. She is everything. She is my first child. I got her for my 10th birthday. She turns 10 this year. I turn 20 this year. She's like my everything. We've been through everything together. Max, I watched Max get born. My aunt's cat gave birth to Max, and I was there the night. Like I wasn't even meant to stay the night, and I was like, bro, I want to stay the night. And she was also only meant to have like 3 kittens. Like the ultrasound said only 3 kittens, and I wanted a boy. I wanted a black and a white one, and he came out last, and he was the last one, the one they didn't know, and they had already like sold all the other ones. And so I got Max, and he was my given. Like the Lord gave him to me. Zephyr. So Zephyr is also another one of my cats, and Zephyr's still alive. Max and Zephyr and Sky are all still alive. These next ones are all alive still. Zephyr, it was literally just like I decided one day, I was like, I want another cat. And so we just went and got one. This cat who was so gorgeous, and I was so in love with him. But then there was this group of kittens, and there was this one kitten that they were like talking about, being worried about because she hated everyone, and she was like terrified. Like she was literally losing her mind. And so I was like, I can't leave her here. I've got to take her home. And she was literally like curled up, cowering, shaking in the corner, like covered in blankets, like she was terrified. And I got her home, and she literally swapped, and she started playing. Quisp, that was also another one where I was like, I want another cat. And so Jinxie, he was a ragdoll, and so I was like, I want another ragdoll because Jinxie was everything. And so I was like looking online one day, and I found a breeder, and I've never gotten a cat from a breeder before. And was looking online, I found this breeder, and it sort of wasn't a breeder. It was like an accident. The kittens were going to be like sent off or something, and they were cheap as anything. And I was like, I will literally die if I do not get this kitten. And so I begged my dad, I begged him, and he literally had to like run around and scrounge around and find all this money, and then we went and got him. And so that's Quisp. Quisp is also literally my child. Like, he's my baby. I pushed him out of my bum. He's literally, I ride or die for Quippen. Like, I'm not even fucking joking. Out of everything in this world, Quippen. Okay, so that's it for the cats. That's a long list. That's fucking 11. That's 11 cats I've had in my life. And we've got four remaining. Dogs. So I'll start with Scrappy. So Scrappy, I don't remember Scrappy, except I remember the day we left Scrappy. So Scrappy was like a pain in the ass. That's what I've been told, at least. But I loved Scrappy, and apparently that's what I've been told, is that I loved Scrappy. And but my parents just couldn't deal with him. He was like losing it. And we went to school one day, and I must have been like 4, and my Scrappy was there, and I remember sitting in the car with Scrappy, and my mum obviously didn't explain it to me because I was 4, and she grabbed Scrappy and gives him to someone else, and I'm like, what's this bitch doing with my dog? Then my mum got in the car and we left, and I was like, what? Scrappy, we're leaving Scrappy. Never saw Scrappy again. Bella and Ty, these two I'm gonna like talk about together because they were always together. So Ty literally had him before I was even born. Like, he passed away when he was like 15 years old, so I literally had him my entire life, and he just passed away because he was fucking old as anything. But my first ever best friend, like, that was Ty. But Bella, she was probably about 10 when she died, and she was like, they were like 2 peas in a pod, like they were always together. And Blue is my border collie who we have now, and he was my first ever dog, like, he was bought for me. He's just incredible. He's like, I've never met a dog like him. He's like so smart and so insane, and it's crazy. Lizards. So I've got a Khan right now, which is my bearded dragon, and we got her from, I'm not going to go into too much detail about the Khan because I don't know who watches these videos, so we rescued a Khan, let's just say that. But before, I had 2 geckos. I don't remember these geckos' names because I was like 6 or something. But one day I went to feed my geckos, and my mum had let them go. My mum let them loose. She didn't think I was taking care of them. She didn't think I was feeding them. And then when I went to feed them, I was like, where the fuck are my geckos? And she was like, oh, you have been looking after them? And I was like, yes, that's why they're still alive. Not anymore, they're outside. Fish. We had a tropical fish tank with like everything in it, but I specifically remember Shark, who was a shark fish, Angel, an angelfish, and then Little Red, and he was like called Little Red or Little Red Riding Hood, and it was this tiny little red fish who like everyone just kept trying to kill, like all of the other fish just kept trying to kill him, and Shark used to jump out of his tank, and I used to have to grab him and like put him in the fucking tank, and it was terrifying. And Shark also used to beat the shit out of Angel, and so Angel's, all his like little wings and stuff were all beaten up and stuff, so fucking, we didn't like Shark. Bubbles. Bubbles was my fish. He was a goldfish, like a black goldfish with big googly eyes. And Bubbles lived for like 6 years, and I reckon he didn't, and I reckon my dad changed them with another fish. But also at one point Bubbles gave birth, and I cannot for the life of me know, like, I can't tell you what happened to them. I don't remember what happened to the babies. I don't remember. I'd have to ask my dad. But oh, and then I had a bunch of like Japanese fighting fish, and one of them was called Shark Eyeball, and they like, I could never keep them alive. I really couldn't. I had like 4 of them, and I'd done all my research and stuff, but I don't know, it was, they lived for like a year or 2. Maybe they only had like a year or 2 life expectancy, I don't know. Birds, Bluey and Billy. Now, these birds I have so much regret for, because I was too young. I did not know what I was doing, and not as good as it should have been. Like, it was not cruel, but it was, I would do it different now. Like, I would do it differently. Like, I'd have a whole aviary and everything, and they had a pretty big cage, but it wasn't like, they should have had so much more. My rats, when I talk about my rats, I'm literally gonna start crying. My rats were my everything. Like, I'm being so serious right now. Rats are the best animals that I've ever come across. Like, I can't even tell you. These 2 rats treated me with so much love. It was insane. Like, my rats used to escape their fucking cages to come and cuddle with me. Like, and then it got to the point where I never used to put them in their cage. Like, they literally used to just roam around my room, but they'd always just stay on my bed because they just wanted to be with me. That was the first time that I've really experienced death. So Crispy, he passed away we just found him in the cage. But Kitty, and that was the one that fucked me over, because I kept Kitty alone. So after Quisp died, I just had Kitty, and we had him for about 5-6 months. And you're not supposed to do that. I know you're not supposed to, but Kitty never wasn't with me. He was with me the whole time, like 24/7. Kitty also, he didn't like other rats, so I couldn't have got another rat. He was with me 24/7. Like, you can ask anyone, I always had my rat with me. So it became 6 months of this little thing being with me the whole time. I remember the day before he died, he wasn't eating, but he wasn't acting weird, and it was really weird because I knew he was dying. Like, I knew, that's how much I knew this rat is. I knew he was dying. He was walking, he was acting fine, he was sleeping a little bit more, but he refused his favorite treat, and I was like, he's dying. Like, there's no hope in hell. And so I had to like set up this whole thing, and he used to love when I'd sing Blackbird by the Beatles to him. That was his favorite song. And then the next morning I woke up and he was laying in his cage and he was freezing cold, and I picked him up and I was like, I knew he was fucking dying. And so I started singing Blackbird to him, and then I said to him, I said, like, you can go, because I knew he was, and I said, just go, because he was like fighting, and I said, really, just go. And he did, and I was holding him, and I watched him die in my hands, and I just kept singing to him, and it was like the most fucked experience of my life. Like, the first time I ever realized just how much life really matters, and like that all these little problems that I had were so just like irrelevant, and like that was my first ever like, I was like, whoa. Anyway, enough depressing notes. Guinea pigs, these are the last thing. I had 2 guinea pigs. They also had like an entire room. I didn't know how to take care of them. Like, I really didn't know how to take care of them, but they had a whole room to themselves. They had like a dog cage and like everything, but I wasn't taking care of them well enough because I was like 10 years old. And so we gave them to my sister, actually, and I don't know if she remembers. I also don't know what happened to them, but I'm pretty sure I've overheard that they died like within hours of us giving them to them. And I don't know, I'll have to ask her, but I don't think she actually remembers, but I'm pretty sure something happened and it was literally like a couple hours after we gave them to them and they died or something. Oreo and Cookie, and they were like my first ever pet that wasn't a cat or a dog or something. And well, I had like the lizards, but like this was like solely mine. This was like, I had to raise them, I had to take care of them. And yeah, I just couldn't do it well enough, and so we gave them to my sister. Yeah, so that's the animals that I've owned, and I'm just making this video because I love animals, and I love any opportunity to brag about my animals and to talk about my animals. Bye, YouTube.